Hi, everyone. Welcome back to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for kicking off your weekend here with Friday afternoon getting underway in downtown Providence. We'd like to thank Bob Whitcomb for coming in,
Hello.
as he usually does. We usually have
Post-surgically,
the new and improved.
well, the
Bob
new
Whitcomb.
and reduced.
Well, we appreciate your coming in to talk national and local politics. Let's start national.
Sure.
Let's talk about the entrance this week with a gentleman that you actually know
I
somewhat
know a
well,
bit.
Joe Biden.
Many moons ago, I worked for the DuPont-owned newspaper in Delaware. Of course, DuPont owns most of what's in Delaware. A newspaper called the News Journal, and I was covering politics, among other things. And was he a congressman or a senator then? I can't remember, one or the other. And I had a few encounters with Joe Biden. Very charming, exactly, kind of like a Kennedy in a way. Very charming, remembers names, very chatty, very ambitious, and I didn't think I don't think he was going to ever be offered a job at the Institute for Advanced Study. But very smart, engaging guy, and here we are again. What's his third official run for president?
Third official run, of course,
I don't
leading
know.
up to it.
I'm skeptical. I think the age thing is a problem. The other thing is just his record running nationally has not been very strong, and he does tend to misspeak. So I don't know. It's really, he's very charming. He's a lot more charming than our maximum leader.
Do you think a lot of folks, I spoke with Jennifer Lawless about this down at UVA, an element of the party wants to harken back to sort of Obama days,
well,
but then there's also a portion
yeah.
that wants to look forward, so the
Right.
two not in concert.
Well, I think actually Biden is before Obama. In a way, Biden, kind of well, not really. His father was rich, then lost a lot of money. His father was a polo player, had yachts, and then he lost a lot of. But there's something kind of Truman-ish about it. Old FDR, Truman, New Deal, Fair Deal about Biden. Way before Obama. Obama wanted somebody who kind of appealed to that crowd, the lunch pail. What they used to call the lunch pail Democrats.
Let's talk a little bit about the structure of the party. I think you were out the week that Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, was making some pointed remarks regarding Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course, the
to
very
shut up,
left,
trying to get her to shut up.
left-leaning freshman congresswoman. And the thought was sort of, well, she knows or perceives the party can't possibly go that far left in the Democratic primary and expect to win in 2020. What's your thoughts on that?
I think she's basically right. Yeah, I think people do want something like Medicare for all in the fullness of time, but gradually. I think they want moderate. I think the bulk of the population, going by the polls on policies, wants a slightly left of center regime. And I think of Kennedy, Kennedy more like Truman, maybe something like that.
But not AOC.
Not extreme, not overnight. I think sort of, evolutionary change to the more liberal side, more income distribution, higher taxes on the very rich, stuff like that, but nothing radical.
Speaking of liberal and potentially a radical proposal, rights for inmates to vote.
Really stupid idea, I think. Terrible. I think if you commit a crime against society, you shouldn't be able to vote. And I thought Bernie Sanders, this is again certain Democrats pulling, what was it, pulling defeat from the jaws of victory? Is that the? That is nuts. Most Americans, I think, strenuously oppose the idea, for example, of the Boston Marathon bomber being able to vote.
Yes.
I mean, there are other examples too. I looked it up, and unless these facts have been superseded, only Vermont and Maine allow convicts in prison to vote.
Okay.
And I think most people, as I said, oppose this. It's a sort of wacky idea that undermines the Democrats' push to, get a wide swath of the middle of America.
Well, speaking of middle America, let's get a little closer here in Stewart Island. And some news this week, Lifespan.
This is lower middle America.
New England. Right. Lifespan coming out this week in a very, if not unsurprising, media push in their opposition for Partners Healthcare coming in to take over Care New England.
Right.
Obviously, broke it here on GoLocal. Plenty of, you can't turn on the radio.
Oh, I know. What's big
hearing.
thing? I mean, huge employer. I just thought, and maybe
Lifespan.
I'm being too cynical, I've sort of wondered if partners, the behemoth in Boston came in and offered Lifespan, a big deal, to be taken over with the executive suite getting huge. You know, these guys get huge, so-called they get huge golden parachutes too.
Absolutely.
Then it would be wonderful. I don't know. The other suggestion, what Brown I think would like is, you know, they're a player in this piece, the Brown Medical School and the School of Public Health, would like basically Care New England, Lifespan to merge and have one system. That would be a lot of pricing power, wouldn't it?
Do you think Lifespan can affect any change in this process if things kind of are status quo with them staying on the outside?
I think in the fullness of time, my guess would be that Lifespan and Care New England are both sucked in some way to the Boston stuff.
We shall
Probably
see.
partners.
So you think they'll get the tentacles into Lifespan
Yeah,
as well?
I mean, the magnetism of that huge medical center. Brown Medical School will not go away any more than, say, the Dartmouth Medical School, you know, up in the North Country will go away. We need these regional centers like this, but we're so close to Boston that it's, you know, it's hard to see that eventually the whole thing won't be run from Boston.
Speaking of takeovers, the news this week of Governor Gina Raimondo and the new Education Commissioner discussing ways of looking at Providence schools.
I agree. Take over Providence schools. The only solution. Not that the state would be some genius at it either, but clearly Providence can't do it because of a mixture of demographics, politics, unions, and so on. I think the only thing to do is for the state to come over and take over the school system.
So there have been some kind of chirping and some quips of, oh, well, let's look what happened at Central Falls. Is that really the road to take? But, you know, what do you see as the advantages of the state coming in?
Well, I think they'd be, insulate a little bit from some of the local pressures, the local political pressures. Not a lot, but a little bit. That's why I think there'd be a mild improvement. Also, I think the state could probably bring more expertise or hire more expertise than the city could. The city just doesn't have the resources, partly because the huge pensions, the pension overhang. And I should get to that. I sort of entertain, here we are sort of at the end of a business cycle. Now we've got the perpetual contracts and stuff, so it probably only get worse. But the state would have more firepower, I think, to change things a bit. Not that my confidence level is extreme, but more firepower, bring in more people from the outside, change things. And remember, the state can do whatever they want. The cities and towns are legal children of the state.
That
we
is
should
true.
remind everybody.
Legal children.
Legal children.
Before we get to your cheat sheet for what you have this weekend, I do want to ask you your thoughts on what GoLocal reported yesterday, the improper Bostonian closing down.
I saw that. My friend David, our mutual friend David Jacobs, publisher of the Boston Guardian.
Once a waiting room staple, if you will.
Right. I thought it had gotten kind of boring the last 8 or 9 years, and its demise didn't surprise me, even though the rapidity with which she did it. I keep thinking of when, who was the guy owning Condé Nast, Cy Newhouse, when they closed down HG in 15 minutes and fired everybody, sort of like that. You know, clearly, well, the other thing, and Josh Fenton and other people have talked about, what they were doing was so sort of perfect for digital. But he never did it. Yeah, I mean, the color, you know, it seemed to be.
Shareability,
the shareability.
The sort of excitability.
It was like perfect, much better than, say, the New York Review of Books is not so great for digital. And I just couldn't figure that out. But I think since the founder disappeared some years ago, it hasn't been as engaging anyway.
So no more improper
Yeah, no more Boston, Phoenix. I mean, they're all going.
But speaking of things you are going to read, what do we got this weekend?
Well, I want to tell you, we're doing this Friday, and tomorrow they're supposed to implode the big cooling towers. I'm going to miss them because they're surreal, especially in a light fog at dawn or dusk. You know, those weird looming extraterrestrial. And it was really something in that boring drive on 195.
You appreciated the
I really loved
sort
them.
of nuclear
Well, it was
aesthetic.
ominous. Yeah, it was sort of ominous.
Kind of harken back to the Cold War.
Yeah,
like the good old days.
Thinking, yeah, 7 days in May. Really kind of creepy.
Okay, so
and
you're
surreal.
going to miss the cooling towers.
Yeah, I think they should not be imploded. I want to keep them, but it's too late, of course. I talk about the free college thing of Elizabeth Warren, which I think is a bad idea because it would
relieve the college debt.
Yeah, because of too much. One, it undermines that you should pay your debt, which is not good for the country. The other thing, the people who would primarily benefit from it would be middle and upper middle class people, not the poor. if you actually analyze it. Who's
Okay.
going to go to college? Who's going to file for college? And I've got to say something, a very happy note about the Pier, which the Providence Journal, give them credit, did a nice piece on the Pier and Rocky Point. That's great. I wish we had more stuff like that, you know, more stuff, amenities for the public. And I think that'll become a big tourist site.
Well, did you see the pictures on GoLocal Prov? Local photographer, just in case, had a sneak peek. And I'll tell you, that pedestrian bridge for $25 million looks pretty pretty.
Over the Providence River,
So that
no, I
looks
think
like it'll
that's
be a good
great. I
attraction.
know we're talking about the pros, but that is going to be a destination, I think. And I think GoLocal agrees. It's going to be pretty neat.
It looks like the pictures are pretty. If you haven't seen it, go on GoLocal Prov and put it in the search terms. And of course, go to GoLocal Prov on Sunday to read Robert Whitcomb. So thank you for coming into the studio.
Thank you, Kate. It's a
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
It's an honor.
And thank you for watching with Ray Rickman, Kristen Adambo, and of course, Robert Whitcomb. We'll be back on Monday with Business Monday with Josh Fenton, GoLocal CEO. But of course, read us throughout the weekend. Find us on Facebook at GoLocalProv.com.